Video games have countless genres, different varieties, and a bunch of entertainment. I've been playing video games for almost my whole life. In the past couple years alone, I've played countless titles in so many genres of games, so I'd say I have some sort of validation when it comes to talking about these. Today, I want to share my top 10 absolute favorite video games of all time. It's hard to make this list since I can go through phases, but considering a bunch of these haven't been played in a while, it's safe to say that I genuinely love them. Now, I should also bring up that this list is not in any particular order because it just wouldn't be possible. Another thing is that there is a possibility that two games from the same series can be on the same number, simply because I love them both the same and they're very similar. With all that out of the way, let's start with some small yet honorable mentions. New Super Mario Bros. Wii is an incredible game in the Mario series. I remember playing it every day with my older brother before and after school for hours at a time. Its amazing levels, power-ups, and sound effects are still refreshing and unique compared to the newer games today. It introduced power-ups like the propeller and the penguin suit, two highly underrated power-ups that should be included way more in the newer games. I just wanted to mention it simply because this game played a role in my childhood and I had an amazing experience with it. Super Mario Odyssey is that game on the Switch. It has so much replayability and amazing levels. In Mario Odyssey, it follows Mario and Cappy. Cappy is a being that allows you to capture and control other characters and objects. Ones like dinosaurs, Goombas, and even Yoshi at some points in the game. You go from kingdom to kingdom, collecting moons to travel across the world to save Peach. This game is honestly incredible. The controls feel so smooth in this game and is a main reason why I go back to the game every once in a while. I'd like to also bring up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Halo 2 for being such great games, but with the honorable mentions out of the way, let's move on to the number 10 spot. The Walking Dead Telltale series is a game based on decision. The gameplay isn't its strong suit since it mainly focuses on pure decisions that can affect relationships with people. You can even go as far as making decisions on who to save or who to help, which in the end could cost the life of someone. The Walking Dead is an episodic adventure that consists of 4 seasons. I've only played the first 2 seasons and I'm currently doing the third one, but judging by the first 2 alone, the first season of The Walking Dead has been one of the best, if not the best story I've ever played through. It focuses on important characters and you learn about them every episode, and it'll never get boring since there are constantly new characters coming in because of the amount of deaths and tragedies that occur in this game. From what I've seen, the first season is one of the best, if not the best of them all, and you play as Lee, who is easily one of my favorite characters of all time. I definitely recommend it because it is phenomenal, but that's of course if you actually enjoy these types of games. Now at number 9 we have Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's self-explanatory on why this game is on my list. It's easy enough for kids to play, but there is also a level of mastery in the levels and movement. To me, the Mario Galaxy games demonstrate perfectly what Nintendo games are really about, and shows the charm and uniqueness of them. It's a 3D Mario game, and in my opinion, there has never been a bad 3D Mario game, and it is easily my favorite of them all. Introducing new level layouts and amazing power-ups, Mario Galaxy 2 offers so much. I'd say that the first one is also really good because they're not too different, but I give Galaxy 2 the edge simply because I've played it more and it offers new things. Number 8, we have Minecraft, and I gotta be honest, this isn't an easy game to review or talk about, and it's actually quite difficult. It's sandbox, but we all know this, and luckily I don't have to explain what it is simply because everyone is aware of what Minecraft is, and that's undeniable. It's a beautiful game, which is obvious. The only limit is your imagination, and there's always so much to do. From survival, where you have to survive the threats and mobs and build your way up by making a house, mining and upgrading your armor and weapons, or even creative, where you have every item at the palm of your hands and it gives you the ability to create whatever you want. And hey, if you're bored of those, you can even check out the servers that have various game modes, with ones including PvP, build battles, and even parkour. Minecraft is special to me because I played it a bunch, especially when I was younger. I'd get lost playing with my friend, mining for hours, building planes and diamond block houses, and it meant a lot to me. The music is so nostalgic and takes me back every time. Even today, although I don't necessarily like some of the new additions from updates, I still love this game very much, and it is easily one of the greatest games of all time. Now at number 7 we have Resident Evil 2. This game in my opinion had the absolute best story out of the Resident Evil games and is the best out of the RE remakes. Beautiful map and environments, the RPD in this game is incredible and every placement for puzzles and locks are perfect. RE2 has the best inventory and crafting system out of every game and has incredible characters like Leon and Claire. I also love how balanced the horror and action is in this game. It has both horror and action but has more of an edge on the horror side, which calls back to Resident Evil's roots. I prefer horror because that's exactly what the RE games are known for. This game demonstrated how to perfectly introduce new characters into a series and have them linked to previous people. An example is how Claire is Chris Redfield's sister and Leon became friends with her. Not only that, but stars are linked with the RPD and Leon was at the RPD because it was his first day on the job. The remake to me is a masterpiece. Perfect visuals, story, characters, and gameplay. But now we can finally move on to our number 6. Now at number 6 we have Smash Ultimate. Now it's obvious why this game is on the list. It is the biggest fighting game of all time and also the biggest crossover game of all time with various game franchises and characters included. I mean, who would have thought a game could include Kirby and Snake fighting? Super Smash Bros. Is an amazing series and honestly don't see how anyone can hate it. You can play online, alone, or even with friends and family. It's an overall entertaining game regardless of the way you play it. It has so many maps, characters, and incredible gameplay that honestly feels so smooth. In my eyes, every moveset is very unique for the most part, and the majority of the DLCs even have some sort of interesting gimmick associated with them. This game has plenty of content that can keep you busy for hundreds of hours, and it has a jam-packed story mode, but I personally don't like it that much. Especially when you put it into comparison with the Brawl's Subspace Emissary mode. Smash also takes actual skill, unlike a game like Brawlhalla that really just promotes the whole spam equals skill thing. Smash offers so much content for a fighting game and is easily my favorite. At number 5 I have Cuphead. At face value this game just looks like another platformer and doesn't seem like much at all. But the more you play, the more you realize how much love and effort was put into this game. Every character has so much detail put into them and the overall visuals are just gorgeous. Even the sound effects are amazing, but the soundtrack is what stands out the most to me. This game probably has my first or second video game soundtrack because it is orchestrated beautifully. Gameplay is another thing that is very smooth, which is important in this game because your mistake can make you restart your level completely. Speaking of levels, every one of them is extremely unique, since every enemy throws some different type of projectile or is faster than one another. It even goes as far as an enemy having different forms that can achieve different attacks. Cuphead is more than just an average platformer. I see it more as a beautiful work of art and I am truly excited to see what is next for the DLC. But now we can move on to our number 4.
Pete, wait! The Arbiter's with us! Come on now. We've got enough to worry about without you two trying to kill each other.
Were it so easy.
Now, it's obvious that Halo 3 would make it on my top 10. It is probably my favorite or second favorite shooter when it comes to multiplayer. Halo 3's multiplayer has aged incredibly and is played by hundreds of thousands even after almost 14 years of its initial release. Which is all thanks to the Master Chief Collection, of course. And then, obviously we have Theater and Forge, which are great modes, but it was never something I was really into much. The campaign specifically is breathtaking for a game in the Xbox 360 era, let alone 2007. I didn't want to write much for this part since it gets repetitive because of how much I talk about Halo in my videos, but it's worth mentioning because it is easily one of my favorite games of all time. But with that being said, let's talk about my number 3.
Here soon. Let's make this quick. Woods. It's been a while.
Now at number 3 I actually have 2 games, which are Black Ops 1 and 2, and it was way hard to choose one over the other. I grew up playing both of these games so they're equal to me. Now I also don't want to ramble much about these games since I've already made a video on it, which is my COD tier list. If you want to watch it, I'll leave a link in the description, but you'll have to deal with my terrible editing and my high-pitched voice. But if you don't want to watch it, Black Ops 1 and 2 are some of the best COD games of all time. Starting with their campaigns. Black Ops 1 in my opinion has the best campaign of all time. It takes place during the Cold War and Vietnam War during the 1960s, where you play as Alex Mason and fight alongside Frank Woods and Bowman. Its missions are amazing. It has incredible voice acting and some iconic scenes. And then Black Ops 2 takes place in the late 1980s and during 2025, where you swap from playing Alex Mason to his son David Mason. I feel as if they were both great campaigns, but BO1 definitely had the edge. I don't want to go too much into detail because it would take a long time, and plus I've already made a video on it. But moving on to their multiplayers, both great and both had some of the best maps like Nuketown, Studio, Summit, Standoff, Raid, Slums, and so many more. I love Black Ops 1 multiplayer because of the kill streaks and weapons like the FAMAS, AK-74U, Commando, and even the AUG, but obviously Black Ops 2 had the superior multiplayer, introducing fan favorite weapons like the Ballista, DSR, MSMC, PDW, and lots of others. BO2 has the edge on multiplayer, but I enjoyed them both regardless. And then the zombies. They were both iconic since they both had fan favorite maps. BO1 had Moon, Kino, Shangri-La, and BO2 had amazing maps like Buried, Origins, and Mob of the Dead. I'd say I prefer the gameplay on Black Ops 1 for zombies, but the maps go to BO2 simply because of my love for Origins and Mob. But they both had so many unique things, and they demonstrate perfectly why I loved the game so much. But with that being said, let's move on to the number 2. Now on the number 2, we have 2 games again, and they are Resident Evil 7 and 8. It's hard to choose which ones out of these games I prefer simply because they both thrive in different categories, but are both amazing and are part of the same story with the same character. But I'll start with RE7. RE7 starts with Ethan Winters getting a message from his wife who has been missing for years, and she tells him the location that she is at. Ethan decides to go after her in Dulvey, Louisiana to finally see her again, but it wasn't that simple. She was at some abandoned home, aka the Baker's residence, because the boat she was on had crashed. Little did they know that the boat contained what we now know from RE8, which is the Kadu parasite. Ethan is now dealing with a psychotic family trying to kill him and is enduring all of this just to save his wife. RE7 is filled with dark hallways, creepy jump scares, and difficult enemies to fight through, but is so fun to play. Even on the hardest mode, I had an absolute blast playing and will definitely come back to it eventually. I personally feel as if it is the scariest game I've played and is pretty close to Outlast. But on to RE8. It picks up 3 years after RE7, where Ethan had a kid with his wife Mia, but his kid was captured by who we later find out is Mother Miranda. She practically controls the mold and is a cult leader who wanted Ethan's daughter to save her own. Ethan now has to roam around an entire castle and village, exploring so much to save his daughter with the occasional help of Chris Redfield. RE8 is too close to say whether it is better or worse than RE7. I'd say it is far more jam-packed than RE7, but not as scary. It by all means had some terrifying parts, but it didn't affect me as much as RE7 did. But RE8 has so many diverse sections and characters that it is so interesting, and when it comes to the story and overall game, I love both of these and can't wait to play them again, including Capcom's next installments to come in the future. But on to number 1, our last game, and a much scarier one. We have Luigi's Mansion. After being stuck in the shadow of his older brother Mario, Luigi finally got his own game for the Nintendo GameCube. After winning a contest he never entered, Luigi was set to arrive at his new mansion and quickly discovered that it was filled with ghosts and his older brother Mario had gone missing. Luigi's Mansion is very different from what we've come to expect from Mario games. There's no jumping on Goombas or any sorts of platforming at all. Instead, Luigi has a flashlight and a vacuum cleaner to get rid of the ghosts in the house. Making his way clear out of the mansion and saving Mario, I always found this game to be the most unique out of the Mario series, simply because we haven't seen anything close to this before. I love absolutely everything about this game. Its graphics are really good for its time, the music fits with the setting of the game and is always fun to listen to. Luigi and Egad are so entertaining and are my favorite duo in Nintendo games. They're also super interesting in the later games too, so I really love their characters. But let's talk about the mansion. It's perfectly balanced with normal ghosts and mini boss fights, so it's not super annoying or repetitive. There's so much detail put into this game, whether we talk about the personalities of characters like Luigi or even the ghosts or the expressions Luigi has depending on his health bar. I love Luigi's Mansion and everything about it. But yeah, that's the end of the list. I do want to say thank you for watching. It is very possible that the list does change in the near future because, you know, my opinions could always change on games and there are a bunch of new ones coming out very soon. But I want to apologize for not uploading for a while. School has started again, obviously it's September, and we're going back 5 days a week. And on top of that, I'm in the process of moving houses, so it's been fairly difficult. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, take care.